In this video, I'm going to be creating a new application using Google AI Studio that helps me identify high-performing videos in my niche from other channels. So let's put in a prompt that describes the app that we want to build. And it's got to talk to AI just as if you are talking to your developer. An app that identifies outlier videos across a range of YouTube channels, okay, in my niche. We should also define what an outlier video is. An outlier video is a video that gets 10x views versus the average views of the channel. Okay, so let's run that and see what Google comes up with. So it'll do some thinking, come back with some ideas, and maybe start building out the app. But we will also most likely need some Google APIs to allow us to search the YouTube database. Okay, so it's come back and it's taken some time. It's given us a UI. It looks like it's actually built out the entire application. It's also mentioned that I need an API key known as a YouTube Data API version 3. And we get that from Google Developer Console. So I'm going to log into my Google Developer Console and I'm going to grab this particular key. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the instructions here. So here, Google AI Studio has given me a link to click on. It says enable this particular API and create an API key under the credentials tab. So I'm going to follow those instructions and grab this key and see if this application works. Okay, I have got my key, and all I have to do is go into settings here on the top right hand side, go into secrets, and I've added a YouTube API key and pasted my key into that text box and hit apply changes, which is exactly what the instructions over here had asked me to do. So I'm going to now test this app. Let's just try AI, hit enter and see. Okay, that was pretty quick. So it's given us a list of channels. Let's click on this one. And we can see average views, we can see total view videos analyzed, and no outlier videos. So that's actually pretty cool. It works very quickly and is able to get data out. I'm going to click on, let's see if I can search for a channel that I know, Sabrina Romanoff. I don't know how to spell that. Let's see if I can spell that correctly. Now I might have to put in a handle. Let's see if it's found that. There we go. The scroll, there we go. Excellent. There we go. So average view count, 12.5. Any outliers? No. So I don't know if this outlier is actually working, yes or no. So let's see. There are a couple of other channels that I know of. Let's see. Tina is another channel. I don't remember her last name. I know it starts with H. I think it's this one here. 1 million subscribers. Okay. Now the data's coming through. Let's just let Google know the data, the channel metrics are showing. However, I don't see any outlier videos, and that could be accurate. However, I want to make sure the logic is correct to test. For now, drop the 10x down to 2.5x or allow user to enter outlier value. All right, let's just update that. Because I don't know if there's just no video that have 10x or this is not working. So to test, I'm just dropping down the criteria and then we can see how that goes. Now we can see Google AI Studio has added a element here allowing us to set the threshold. So let's try a different search. Let's try for Claude Code. All right, very good. Let's try this one here. And there we go. So we have a few now showing. Now this is really good because now we know this actually works. Now this is a 6x outlier. Okay, I like this. This is much, much better. Now let's just test that this is working. So I'm going to push this back up to, let's push it up to 12. And now we don't have any. Very good. Okay, excellent. Let's push this down to 5x. Fantastic. Okay, excellent. And this one's got nearly 600k views. Okay, a video about what are skills. Now that was towards the end of February. So that's actually almost a month away. Okay, now let's add a little bit more. I want to see a little bit more. I want to first fix up this scroll bar. I don't like the style of the scroll bar. Adjust the style. Now, these are minor things, but I'm going to also add some more data to our application. So let's adjust the left side. That's a vertical scroll bar. I don't like the default style. Okay. Make it follow the app theme. So maybe make it darker. Now also, so that's number one. Number two, I want to view the latest five videos for the channel selected, okay, and top 5 videos. in terms of view count. All right, there's those few things to adjust, and I think the application's done. Amazing. So within about 10 minutes, we have our YouTube Outlier Finder app. Amazing. That's the power of AI. Just makes you so much more productive. And I've found that Google AI Studio creates very nice functional UI designs. I'm very happy with this current UI design. Okay, let's now test our changes. So I'm going to do the same search, Claude Code. Okay, that's much better. Now, the other thing, okay, let's click on this. The outliers, latest 5 videos. So latest, okay, that's on the left-hand side, latest 5 videos and top 5 videos by views. Yep, very good. I'm happy with that. Now, I also want to add a pointer on my mouse. So add a mouse over style to be pointer for the channel. Click. Okay. What I mean by that is my mouse stays the same as I'm putting my mouse over this. It should be changing to indicate that I can click on these. Okay, very good. And I think this app is now done. So I wonder if we can reuse this space. Maybe we can't, maybe we can. What's this third column here? Oh, this is outliers. 3 outliers. Okay. All right, let's test this now. We'll do the same search, Claude Code. Enter. There you go. So now it's kind of clear that I can click. Okay, let's have a look at this one, Claude Code Lab. Okay, there's a couple of nice outliers here. So this is in some different language. Okay, maybe that's something we need to add as a filter. Let's add a flag. Add a flag. Actually, I'll leave that. I won't worry about English only. Let's try a different search. Let's try vibe coding. Enter. Okay, let's try the first one. There's an outlier here. Okay, very good. Okay, so these are different languages. So let's add a flag. Add a flag to include videos that are non-English. By default, only include English channels. Okay. All right. So this allows us to then decide if we want to see channels that are non-English. Okay. So there'll be some kind of flag that Google will add. So let's wait for that feature, and I think we're done. Okay. So you can see there's a flag here. I might get it to reposition that, but for now, let's continue. And what's this channel here? Indie Dev Dan. Okay. Very cool. Some outliers there. Okay, very good. So the app is now done. I've met my objective. What I might do is just test this non-English flag. Let's go back to vibe coding. Now we should not get those non-English channels we got last time. Okay, very good. Some outliers here, and they're all English channels. Now I'm going to turn on the non-English and do another search. And last time we got a few different results. So yeah, so we have non-English speaking. Okay, our app is now done. That's it. Amazing. So let me show you how we can now deploy this somewhere to the internet so that anybody can use it if that's what we want. And what I'm going to first do is I'm going to go into settings here on the top right. And let's see, there should be, I'm going to scroll over, there's a GitHub. Okay, so I'm going to call this the YouTube Outlier Finder. This is the repository name. Whoops, it should go in a new repository here. What have I done there? Okay, YouTube Outlier Finder, private repository. Now, okay, this is the name and description. It's private, and I'm going to say create repository. And then we're basically going to push this code up to GitHub. There we go. It's pushed up into GitHub. I'm going to just say, yep, go ahead. Excellent. Now I can go to a hosting provider that I already use, which is Vercel. So I'm going to go into my Vercel account. Let me close this. Okay, so I'm in my Vercel account where I host all of my apps. I'm going to say add new project, and I am simply going to grab the GitHub URL. So let me go to GitHub and grab that URL. Actually, it's right there. So I'm just going to say import, and I'm going to say deploy. And Vercel should now deploy this and make this available to the internet. So let's just wait for that to finish deploying. Shouldn't take long, maybe a minute or so. There we go. That's now deployed. I'm going to go back to Vercel, and where is that application? Let's see if I can find it somewhere. There it is. I am just going to click on this to see if we can run the app, and we are going to connect this to our domain as well. There we go. So right now it's just on a dummy domain, but I think we need to still add in some environment variables. So this probably will not work. Let's try. we need to add in the key. There we go. This key is missing, so let me add that. Now to add my YouTube API key, I simply need to go into the settings, environment variables, and I need to add a new environment variable, and it's called YouTube underscore API key. Okay, and I need to put that in here, so I'm going to do that offline, obviously, because it's a protected variable that I don't want to expose to the internet. And all I need to do is go back into Google AI Studio, hit on the settings on the top right, go into secrets, and there's the YouTube API key. I'm simply going to copy that. It's now copied as it says here. Okay, now I can go back into Vercel and just paste it in here, so I'm going to do that offline. Now I've saved the API key. You can see it's in my environment variables. And here you can see there's a message that because I've added a new environment variable and to redeploy the app, so I'm trying to say redeploy. And that basically resets the app so that the environment variable is picked up. Okay, so now I'm just going to go back and hit on deployments. And I'm just going to wait for this to say it's ready like it was ready previously. And then we can test the app again. But this time it should work because it now has the API key. There we go, it's ready. So let's go back into the app. Let's see if we can now run it. Here we go, there's a link. And this is really just a temporary link. So let's just now search for Claude Code. And looks like it's still unable to pick up the API key. Okay, I did a bit of research and I need to change the code slightly so that it works on Vercel. And this is not a major issue. You can always get your AI agent like ChatGPT or Codex or Claude Code. You explain the problem and you give it access to the GitHub repository, or you just download the source code and you give it access and get it to look at the code, and it will identify the issue. Now, the issue for me was that the way that Google AI Studio had architected the code wasn't suitable to deploy on Vercel. And basically for Vercel to work, it needs the APIs to be in an API folder. So I've just got my AI agent to make some small changes to the code base, and I've said to my AI agent to redeploy the app, basically update the repository in GitHub, which will kick off a redeploy on Vercel. So I'm just waiting now for the code to be updated by the AI agent and for it to then update GitHub, which is our repository where this code base sits. Okay, if you recall, in Google AI Studio, we went to GitHub and we pushed, right? Remember, we pushed all of our changes back up into GitHub. Okay, and then we went into Vercel and we connected our GitHub repository to Vercel. So I'm basically getting the AI agent to make some changes. You can see the AI agent has finished making those changes because I can see a build being kicked off in Vercel where the application is hosted. Okay, so now we can go back and test this again. I'm just going to go back here. I'm going to refresh and try this again. Okay, and there we go. The application is now working just as it was in Google AI Studio. So the application is now live. Now what I want to do is I want to connect my domain to this app. So to do that, we first obviously need a domain. Okay, and I'm going to connect this app to vidoutlier.com. So I'm going to go to domains and I'm going to add existing. Okay, so vidoutlier.com is the domain that I want to add. Now, when you add a domain, then you need to click on, you'll always get this invalid configuration, because what you need to do is you need to grab the DNS settings that are provided here by Vercel, and then you need to go into the domain hosting provider and put them in here. So I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to add a new record. It's a record, I think. Let me go back to Vercel. CNAME, okay, CNAME record. So I'm going to click on there, it's www, and I'm going to save, okay? Now when I go back into Vercel, then at some point this should say it's all good, and I should see green ticks, and Vercel will take care of the SSL as well. So I'm just waiting for this to pick up the new DNS settings to verify. There we go. And I'm going to hit refresh on the top one as well, which is www, okay? So we'll wait for that to propagate, then we'll be able to test it. Now for this one, I also need to add a record. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go back into my DNS provider, new record, and this is a record. And I'm simply going to put in the details, hit save, and that should now propagate, go back into Vercel. Okay, and hit on refresh. It might take a couple of minutes for that to pick it up. This one's done, so just waiting for this one. Okay, we can see that one's also picked up. It's now just setting up the SSL certificate, and then we should be able to browse to our app. And there we go. You can see we're now able to browse to our app using our custom domain, vidoutlier.com. Let's test the app, make sure it's all working, and make sure it's live. Perfect. Everything here is now working. Let's click on one of these. Make sure we're getting the data. API is working. Everything's perfect. So our app is now fully on the internet, production ready, from idea to app in less than 30 minutes. all with Google AI Studio. And then we pushed it to GitHub, which is our code repository. And using that, we deployed it to the internet using Vercel, and then connected it to our custom domain. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to learn more, come join me at vibecodingacademy.club, where I also run a private community where you can learn more about how to develop apps using AI tools. I look forward to talking with you in the next video.